Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal and welcome to the opposition preview for Everton against Arsenal. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Merseyside. We got hammered by Liverpool and we are back in Merseyside once again. We never enjoy our games around that area. Never. Not at Goodison Park, not at Anfield, especially the last 8-9 years. Absolutely not. So I have the perfect guest with me, Everton fan, Kieran Rance. He's been here before. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Both of us, we did lose to possibly our biggest rivals, Midweek, the guys we hate most, Liverpool and United. So it's very, very tough. Both teams will be hoping to win on Monday. Wish this game was on a Sunday or something, not on Monday, because we played on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's still going to be interesting. As usual, you're going to go through Everton's results, Everton's expectations, the upcoming fixtures, and all that, and get his perspective on Arsenal and more. So as always, make sure to hit the like button. Let us know what you make of Everton. Where do you think they'll finish this season? And let's get started. So, Everton, Kieran, at the beginning of the season, obviously, you brought in Gray, you brought in Begovic, not that many players, but Townsend as well as a free agent. What was the expectation after that? So, are you thinking, okay, top 10, or let's get some Europa League football? What are you thinking at that time?
Well, I'll give my own perspective, obviously. I came on the channel and said 10th. I think we were going to just hit mid-table again. 10th, no real challenge for Europe because, let's be honest here, when you spend 2 million in the summer transfer window, how much can you expect? Our squad is mid-table worthy, not really a European contender. So my expectation was always we're going to get mid-table. I didn't really expect much of any of the signings, to be quite honest with you. I didn't expect Townsend to be starting many games or Damari Gray. And they have actually subverted my expectations massively, those two. So, decent transfer window, but it's not one of them transfer windows where you go, wow, we're going to contest, we're going to challenge like the previous transfer window under Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, very true. And obviously, you did lose Carlo Ancelotti. I think we did a video with you. Was it like in June or July?
Yeah, I think it was around July time. No, June time. It was just after the season ended. And Carlo Ancelotti comes out and he's obviously left us. Rodriguez left us in the summer as well. Got a bit of money for him, about 8 million. Moise Kean left us as well. Not a controversial one with Moise Kean, but obviously in retrospect, looking back, we've not had a striker for a majority of our season. Could have used him potentially because he's still banging in the goals at Juventus. He was banging in the goals at PSG. So, it was very, not a poor summer, but it was a very disheartening summer, I would say.
Very true. So, I mean, the season starting in August. We'll take a look at your results so far this season. I'm sure you're not going to love it at all. You're winless in 8 games. So, you started the season surprisingly quite well. You did beat Southampton. Yes, Armstrong scored on his debut and all that. But let's see, you beat Southampton by 3-1. You then had that, I'd say, good draw with Leeds 2-2. You then beat Brighton away 2-0. So that was an international break after that with 2 wins and a draw. That's not bad at all. You came back. I remember watching that Everton-Burnley game. I think it was a Monday night game where you scored like 3 goals within 10 minutes. Gray, Townsend with a bang on in that game. You then lost to Aston Villa 3-0. You then beat Norwich 2-0. You had a good draw against United. You should have beaten them. If Davis decided to shoot in the 80th minute instead of crossing, you'd have won that game. You then lost to West Ham, lost to Watford, and then here now we are really, I'm not sure that I'm talking about Everton or Norwich results. That's how bad it is. You then obviously lost to Wolves and then drew with Tottenham, which is a good draw. That was Conte's first game. You then lost to City. Everyone loses to City. You then lost to Brentford. Let's be honest, we also lost Brentford. You then lost to Liverpool recently. Again, let's be honest, we also lost to Liverpool recently. So looking at all those results, Karen, which was your best result so far this season? Obviously, you have to go early on in the season. Is it that draw against United? Was it the win against Norwich? The draw against Leeds? The win in the opening day? Which one excited you the most?
You know what? I think it was the Burnley result, and I'll explain why. We go 1-0 down, not good at all.
Yeah.
But in the 60th minute, under Carlo Ancelotti and under many other managers and under Everton just in general, we were never able to come back in a situation like that. And actually, this sort of applies to the Southampton game as well. We were never able to come back when we went 1-0 down. So in the Southampton game and in the Burnley game, obviously Southampton, that was the first time we ever came back in about, I think it was 5-6 years from half time and won the game. Burnley was the exact same. And with Burnley, the reason why I think it was more impactful than Southampton's game was because we scored 3 goals in 10 minutes. We could have scored 4 goals. And I think that showed the attacking capacity of Everton. And obviously it was sort of building up. But obviously, you know, that was a good result. And the Man United one was a great result as well, even though, you know, you could argue maybe we should have won because Man United are in the mud. You know, they lost 4-1 against Watford. They lost against countless other teams. I still think it was a good result regardless. You know, you go away from Manchester, you go away against Manchester United, you get a result like that. It's double decent. And when Townsend brings out the Sue as well, it's, you know, it's not too bad either. So I'd say it's definitely the Burnley game over the Man United game.
Yeah, I'm sure you're buzzing as well because you wouldn't have expected too much from the signings, but Gray was magnificent. Townsend, I think he also had an assist in that Burnley game. Was it Keane who scored?
Oh, I can't even remember, but I know at least Townsend and Gray were contributing a lot in that game regardless.
Very, very much. And then, sorry, you have to go to the next question, which is which result hurt you the most? Was it the Watford one, 5 goals? I think they scored like 4 goals in 10 minutes, which was crazy. Was it the West Ham game 1-0? Was it the Wolves away? Was it City one? Liverpool recently?
Liverpool. Has to be Liverpool. I understand the quality. I understand Liverpool are a quality team. They, you know, them, Chelsea and Man City, do you actually expect to get a result out of them? Probably not, no. But look, as you can see there, fans were leaving the stadium after 20 minutes. And do I blame them? Not really, because we went 2-0 down. Our style of football in the first 20 minutes was absolutely horrendous. We looked like we had no sort of tactics at all. Rafa looked out of his depth. And actually, you know what was really a double-edged sword of that game? The players looked like they wanted to win. And if we implemented the right tactics in this game, we could have won that game. We might not have. We could have got but I think we could have got a result out of that at least because the players looked up to it. The players were 110% in that game. And it hurts me more because, you know, the manner in which we lost as well. Like, okay, we go 2-0 down, fair enough. But we come back, it's 2-1. And then Coleman makes a mistake to make it 3-1. And then Jota just goes through like it's nothing. Like the players just didn't care after Coleman conceded that goal. I mean, I'll blame it on Coleman. I'm not going to blame that goal on Gray at all because Gray passing it back to Coleman, fair enough, because Coleman should just pass it back to Pickford, but he doesn't do that. And once Coleman made that mistake and we go 3-1 down, we just didn't have any passion, no desire. And that's when it started to get really toxic at Everton. And even though I wasn't at the game myself, I could tell it from here and I could tell it from social media. It's a bad place, man. And I think actually that Brentford game as well was awful as well. And ever since really the Brentford game, everyone's been on Rafa's back, everyone's been on the board's back, and he needs to get a result against Arsenal to turn this around. And that's why the Liverpool result was the worst one, because he's under huge pressure. You know, we were going on about how Rafa needs to get a result from the derby. You know, were we ever expecting to get a result out of the derby? Probably not, no. But against Arsenal, you've been on a good run of form, but we've got to win against you. We've got to win against Palace. We've got to win against Leicester. We have to win now. I don't care if it's out of our reach, but we have to win these games now, because no win in 2 months is horrendous. Any manager, regardless of who it is, you know, you saw it with Dean Smith at Aston Villa, you saw it with Nuno at Spurs, regardless of what club and what manager it is, if they're on a bad run of form, 2 months without a win, you'd get sacked. So I don't know why he's not being sacked yet, Rafa. So it's just very interesting at the moment. It really is.
I definitely know how you feel. Last season at a time like November, December, I think you're one of the teams that beat us then, or when you came to the Emirates and beat us. We are in a horrendous streak of results, losing. Yes, we were picking up draws here and there, but we were losing. We came to Goodison Park. He beat us, I think, by 2-1 or something, 3-1, something crazy. But so far, you've won 4 games, you've drawn 3, and you've lost 7. You've scored 17, and the concerning area would be 24 goals conceded. So these are your next 5 fixtures: Arsenal at home, Crystal Palace away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Burnley away. 15 points available. How many should you get, and how many do you think you'll get from that?
Okay. All right. In this game, then, we've got 5, obviously, as you said there, 5 results. Big games. Big games. I'll knock off the ones we can't win. Chelsea at home, we can't win. We've never won there in 20 years. We can't win that game. Arsenal at home, really would not be surprised if we lose that game again. Going into this game, I want to win. but I would not be surprised if we lose it.
Yeah.
Palace, we have to get a result out of. 3 points for me. Has to be 3 points. Burnley away has to be 3 points. And I'll also give a special mention to Newcastle away after it. We've got Newcastle after the Burnley game. We have to get 3 points from that game as well. Leicester at home. I'd say we could win that one. I'd say we should win that one. Leicester aren't, I know Leicester aren't no mugs, but they've knocked off Fofana. They're missing out on a few key players. They're not looking their best at the moment. So I'd say for Rafa to keep his job, and that's what we're looking at here. Rafa to keep his job, we need to look at it at the wider scope. 9 points, I think. But the
9 points.
Yeah, 9 points has to be.
Has to be 9 points from 15, which will probably see you in the top 10. I think maybe 10th or 9th there in and around. I actually have to say, I think Crystal Palace away is tougher than Arsenal at home for you guys. Crystal Palace, I mean, they came to the Emirates. They should have beat us. We equalized in the 95th minute. They beat City away from home. They lost a last-minute goal to Brighton. They beat Tottenham by 3-0. So they are looking very good with their new manager. But 9 points out of 15, that's fair enough. So you've mentioned Benitez already a few times. It must have been painful to hear the Liverpool fans chanting his name. It must have really have been painful the other day. So do you think, were you happy when he joined, or were you part of the side that was like, no, I cannot have a manager who's managed Steven Gerrard in a UEFA Champions League final managing Everton?
No, I embrace Rafa.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was Nuno. Don't ask me why it was Nuno. I still don't know this day why it was Nuno, but Rafa was my first choice. And well, not the first choice, but I'd back him. You know what I mean? His credentials were there. He won the Champions League. He won the Europa League. He's done it at Chelsea. He's done it at Liverpool. And he is a good manager. We mustn't forget that. But he's not an Everton man. And I've only realised this after the derby. What we needed in the summer was an Everton man. And I steal this idea off Rory Jennings. But if you know what an Everton man is, it's someone who knows what it means to be an Evertonian. Someone who knows what it means to be an Everton manager. And I think why most fans didn't like Rafa coming in was because he's the exact opposite of that. He's a Liverpool manager. He's an ex-Liverpool manager. And regardless of his credentials, he's not going to bring that identity at Everton. Now, at that time, I didn't really realise that point, but now I have. But that's why many Evertonians weren't happy with it. I was sort of whatever with it. Let's just give him a chance. He then has that amazing run of 5 games. Very much esque of Carlo Ancelotti last year. It very much was. But he's gone really downhill from here. And you know what the annoying thing is, Glenn? I can't pinpoint why it's gone so far downhill. Is it the injuries? Is it Rafa's tactics? What is it? What is the problem? On the pitch, I know the board's the problem. I know everything else is the problem. But on the pitch, why are we not getting the results? And many people have raised the point that Rafa's tactics are out of date now. And I don't know whether they are or not. And here's the thing with Rafa. You've always just got to come back with Rafa. Is he the right fit for Everton? That's what you've always got to come back to, because that's what you should say about every manager. Is he the right fit for Everton? Yeah. And looking back with hindsight, he probably wasn't. Even though he's gone on that good run in the first 5 games, he's lost countless games in 2 months. We haven't won in 2 months. So very mixed on Rafa at the moment, Glenn. I still haven't made my decision on him. I really don't. But I'd say this much now. If he gets sacked, I wouldn't care. Yeah,
you've mentioned the injuries, but it's the Calvert-Lewins, the Richarlisons, those kind of players who've picked up injury. Gray went off as well against Manchester City. But it's the goals that you're conceding, the 5s and the 4s. Surely, even if Calvert-Lewin was there, wouldn't have helped defensively. Maybe you'd have held the ball up better than the rest of the players. Maybe you would have gotten more goals, definitely. But the defense is a worry. So I want to ask you about 5 players. I want to ask you about 5 players in your team right now. So you've mentioned Everton people. You need an Everton man. From the outside looking in at this guy, I look at him like, he's been at Everton for so many years. He's been there since day one. I find him a good leader, not the best like the likes of John Terry or anything like that, but he's a good leader. He's been there. I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals against Arsenal. Remember, very, very well bombing down the right. This is an Everton guy to me, but I've had most of you criticize him, not him, but the board for not selling him. Do you think it's that bad?
No, we don't sell Coleman. We shouldn't sell him, but he shouldn't be starting for Everton. We need to bring in like a Luca Digne for Leighton Baines. If you remember what happened last time, Leighton Baines coming to the end of his career. We bring in Luca Digne and they play half the games with each other. And slowly Luca Digne replaces Baines. We need the exact same thing to happen to Coleman. Don't freeze Coleman out the club. But should he be captain? I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. I understand. I respect Coleman. I absolutely respect Coleman. But, you know, he's 32 now. He shouldn't be starting every single game for Everton. And the fact he hasn't got any sort of competition behind him, the biggest competition he's got is John Joe Kenny. We need to fix that right away. We need someone like a Max Aarons to come in. And I think if we had someone like a Max Aarons to come in, or any other right back to come in for that matter, we'd be much better off. And that is not, I'm not trying to have a go at Coleman, but I just think he's too old now. 32, so playing every single game in the Premier League. Go on.
So at the end of the season, keep him, sell him, or keep him for the bench?
Look, keep him around. You know, there's no point in selling him because he's not on big wages, I don't think. And even if he is on big wages, keep him around. He's good for the squad. He's good for the club. He knows what it means to be an Everton player. So keep him around, but don't sell him. I don't think anyone would pick him up, to be honest with you. I think the only time we're going to be able to sell him is probably at the end of his contract, and that will be to an MLS team or something like that.
Okay, so the next player, we had just lost a Europa League final, 4 goals to Chelsea. And then Arsenal fans did not like this guy, but Everton, surprisingly, they gave us 35 million. And I was like, wow, early Christmas in August for us, 35 million for IWOBI. What do you make of him? Do you think he's just not a good player, or do you think he can be a good player outside the Premier League, or do you think he's just not Everton's fit? He can do well like in a Brighton. What do you think of IWOBI?
No, he's horrendous, mate. He's absolutely horrendous. He doesn't even start in Everton's team at the moment. He didn't even start when we had no wingers. He's absolutely horrendous. He needs to go, man. I don't know what league he's going to go to, but he's not Premier League standard. He really isn't Premier League standard.
Yeah.
Look, he might do well in the Spanish league. He might do well in Serie A, you know, a low-tempered league. But, you know, then again, La Liga are no mugs, you know what I mean? So it's still going to be a challenge for IWOBI wherever he goes, because I just don't think he's good enough. And I don't know how you got 35 million for him. I really don't. Townsend has done more than Alex IWOBI has.
On a free.
Townsend's on a free. Damari Gray's done more. I think if you look at the goal contributions, they're not even too far behind IWOBI. And IWOBI's been here for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And Townsend, who came in and has only been in for half a season, is nearly catching up to him. He just needs to go, man. Sell him. January if you can. Really, just sell him.
So you're definitely going to go on a loss. How much do you think you'll get for him?
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know IWOBI's value, but I'd take 10 million for him. I'd take him.
So that's
10
million loss. Speaking of players on a free, Solomon Rondon. I was quite surprised when I heard you guys were buying him. I understood that Benitez has managed him before a couple of times. So I was like, Rondon, yes, he was good at West Brom. I remember he scored a hat-trick with his head in one game against Swansea. But is he really Liverpool fit? Is he really Liverpool fit?
You know what, Rondon? I've always said this about Rondon. When he came in, I said he'd always come in December. He'd always start cracking on in December. He'd start doing well in December.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever in Rafa's plans when he came in for him to start straight away. He got thrown into the deep end. And he got the backlash of that. And look, it's still not been good enough that he hasn't got a goal contribution in 11 games.
Yeah.
But I think the plan was always with Rondon. Bring him in December when we're getting tighter fixtures together. And when Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets injured or when Richarlison gets injured, throw him on and he'll do a job. And he actually did that against Liverpool. So I actually haven't got a problem with Rondon. I think he's going to start cracking on in December. And people might call me deluded, call me whatever you want. But I genuinely think Rondon's going to start cracking on in December. If we get Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, or we play the right system, I think he'll crack on.
Okay, so Solomon Rondon, he could be good. Number 4 is Pickford. What do you make of Pickford? Is he, according to you, one of the top goalkeepers, or do you think we can get someone better than him?
No, we can't get anyone better than him. He's a top goalkeeper, top 5 goalkeepers in the league. He's better than Ramsdale, mate. Glenn, I know you're gonna have that. I know we're gonna have that discussion, right? He's better than Ramsdale. He's better than Emi Martinez. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Pickford is. You know, he conceded 2 goals in the whole of Euro 2020. If we would have won the Euros, he would have got player of the tournament without a doubt. I genuinely believe that. I think the player of the tournament was down to either Donnarumma or Pickford. Because if you remember in the Euros, there was no one standouty really, but Pickford, I think Pickford was. And Pickford at Everton, he is a consequence of our bad defence. He gets a lot of criticism because he's got a bad defence in front of him. But if he was in a good team, a good defensive team, if he was in Chelsea, it's if we just ignore Mendy for a second, or if we ignore any of the big goalkeepers, and you just place Pickford in replacement for one of the goalkeepers, like Mendy, for example, okay, I think he'd do a very similar job to what Mendy would do. In my book.
Right. So, I mean, is England's first choice goalkeeper? Should really be Ramsdale, but good for him. I mean, he did save Jorginho's penalty at the Euros, which was surprising for everyone. And the last player is Holgate. What do you make of Holgate? He's made a few mistakes. I think this season I've seen you guys playing a few Premier League games, and obviously Huddersfield in the Carabao Cup and also QPR games that you struggled a bit. So what do you make of Holgate? I think he played in one of those games of both.
Very hot-headed. Very hot-headed. Give you an example. He comes on 80th minute against Spurs and gets a red card.
Yeah.
That's very immature from him. I think he's too hot-headed, and he needs to go under a manager who will actually discipline him. If he was under someone like a Jose Mourinho or something like that, he'd probably do well. But I think under Rafa, Rafa's beyond caring about him. And I don't think Holgate's going to get a starting chance at Everton. Yeah. And that's concerning for Holgate's matter because our defense is not exactly, sunshine and rainbows at the moment. It's absolutely in the mud. So the fact he can't get in, I think, shows lack of maturity and just a lack of ability.
Okay, so that's Kieran's thoughts on the 5 players. So if you're to pick one player from Arsenal, someone who would definitely improve your team, who would you take? You'd be like, this guy will definitely help us maybe score more goals or defend better. Who would you go for?
Smith Rowe, Bukayo Saka, but I think Smith Rowe is a better fit for us.
Where does he go? Is it number 10?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've lost one of your number 10s. Obviously, we're not going into that, and obviously also James Rodriguez. I mean, you lost a couple of number 10s last season. James Rodriguez looked very good at the start of the season. I think you played Norwich. I was in Norwich. There's a team you played. I think Brighton. You scored 4 goals last season. James Rodriguez looked very good. You beat, I think it was West Brom by 5. He looked very good in all those games. So I totally understand Smith Rowe has been, for me, our best player so far this season. So let's get into the actual game. Everton against Arsenal. You need to win. We also need to win. If you beat us, we could drop from 5th to 7th. United could be ahead of us. Tottenham could be ahead of us by the time we play this game. So it's very crucial for us as well. And for you, the likes of Leeds, if they pick up wins, they'll be closing the gap on you. The likes of Burnley and Newcastle, one of them will win the game. If it's Burnley, obviously they get closer to you. So what do you expect in this game? Do you expect Everton to go for it? Do you expect Arsenal to go for it? Are you seeing a dull 0-0?
If we play the way we played against Liverpool, we'll score 2-3 goals. If we play the way we did against Brentford, we'll score no goals. Yeah. It's down to Rafa. It's down to Rafa. Is he going to set up tactically? Attack? Is he going to go for it? Is he going to attack, or is he going to play conservative football? I don't know, but it's going to be one or two. It really will be. And if I was Rafa, I'd just go for it. You played attacking football against Liverpool. Didn't work, but I think it didn't work because they just had the quality over us. But against Arsenal, man on man, I think we've got a better squad than you, but we just don't have the right tactics set out. And I know you.
I would say that last season. I would say last season when you had James, there's a couple of players I'd take at Arsenal. Doucouré straight away. I wanted him from Watford. We didn't get him. I mean, Gray I like, but obviously his last spell at Leicester wasn't that great. IWOBI definitely not. I mean, midfield-wise, apart from
it is the players that get in, Glenn, I think. Can I just ask it? Pickford, Godfrey. I'd make an argument for Mina as well. Digne. Doucouré.
Doucouré, yes. Digne, maybe, yeah.
Think it, and I think
four players. Yeah, Calvert-Lewin actually do want him.
Calvert-Lewin. If you honestly, Glenn, if you get Calvert-Lewin, I think you're a top 4 contender.
Do you think he has injury problems?
I think what's happened this season is he was injured and Rafa wanted to start him, and Rafa made a big mistake and set him back by a lot. So he tried to get a short-term success. It cost him long-term. So I don't think it's an injury problem with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think it's just a mismanagement from Rafa, I think.
Because I'm very scared of splashing 60 million for injury-prone players. So like Maddison, we were linked to Maddison last season. So last two topics, what would be your starting lineup if you are Rafa Benitez? If they sacked Rafa Benitez today and called you, Kieran, come and manage that 2 games, interim manager, which score did you go for?
I like a 4. All right, this is going to be a bit of a mad formation, so just bear with me. 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
The attacking line is going to be the mad part, I think. 4-2-3-1, Pickford in goal, Coleman at right back, Godfrey, Mina, and Digne left back. But if Mina's not fit, which I don't think he is, bring in Michael Keane. Centre mids, we can go 2 ways about this. I'm actually thinking about it. I'm going to start a 4-3. I'm going to give 2 options here. You could start a 4-3-3 with a holding midfielder, Fabian Delph, Decore, Alan. Or you can start a 4-2-3-1 with Alan, Decore, and Rondon at cam. Now, Rondon at cam may seem like a really weird one. Like, why are you doing that? The reason is because you watch that Liverpool game back. Look at his average positioning. He was playing like a cam.
Yeah.
And I think that's better for him. Unless he's there in a front 2, up at the very top being a target man, him playing a bit of a deeper role and him getting the balls in and actually controlling it might be better for him. So I'd say Rondon at cam. Yeah. Townsend on the right, Gray on the left, and obviously Richarlison up top, I think. But yeah.
Okay, Richarlison up top. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, if you do that Rondon in midfield against City, you could concede 10 goals easily. Where De Bruyne is running around and Grealish is running around, you could absolutely get slapped. But I do understand that. So match prediction. What would be a match prediction with that lineup? And for us, I imagine Aubameyang could be dropped because he hasn't been at the top of his game. Lacazette could come in. Could see Smith throw Saka starting this time round. Tierney could come back in for Tavares. What did you go for? Must-win game for both teams.
4-3.
4-3?
Yeah.
My goodness. Don't miss that game, anyone.
I don't know which way it will go, though. I wouldn't be surprised if it went Arsenal's way, but 4-3. Hear me out.
4-3.
That's if we play attacking football. If we play conservative football, 2-0 you.
I had someone saying 2-0 today. I don't think he'll keep a clean sheet. I mean, the last 3 games we played at Goodison Park, we lost last season. 2-1. I think it was 2-1. The previous season, we drew 0-0. It was a dull, I think, mid-season game. And then the previous season, I still remember it, Ashley Williams scoring ahead very late on in the game. And then he beat us. So we haven't won there in three years, since 2017. That was the last time we won. Alexis Sanchez was still an Arsenal player. He scored in that game with Ozil as well. So it's been long since we won anywhere in Merseyside. So terrible. I had predicted 3-1 or 3-2. I also see goals. I actually predicted 4 or 5 goals as well. I can't see it being 1-0 or 2-0, not at all. I can see both teams going for it. So I'm going to stick with the 3-1. I think I don't think it's going to be easy, like get 2 goals and then just start passing it around like Liverpool and City would do. I think we'd probably get 1 and then just probably equalize and then maybe get another in the 60th minute. And then as you try to get an equalizer, maybe we break and get a third. I can see it being like that. So 3-1 for me. But Kieran, thank you very much for coming on, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for inviting me on. And yeah, you know what? I'll say good luck to you on Monday because we're both going to need it. We both
we definitely do need it. Where can they follow you and what's in store in terms of previews on your channel?
Sorry, what was that, Glenn?
What do they expect? What can they expect from your channel this week? Yes. I mean, in terms of previews and everything?
This week might be a little bit slower on the content, but definite are going to be a match preview for Arsenal, watch along for Arsenal, and match reaction for Arsenal. That's a definite. So that's all I'm going to give you. But in general, you know, we come out with the neutral watch alongs. Fan debates will make a return hopefully soon. But yeah, this week's going to be a little bit slower, and I'll release why that is soon. But definite Arsenal game. We're all covering it. So make sure you come over.
I mean, if we score 2 or 3 goals, you'll definitely see me in that watch along. Maybe in the comment section, maybe live. I will have to be there, Sammy. But if we concede, forget I'm an Arsenal fan. Just forget about it. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching. Let us know your prediction for the game. And as I said in the beginning, what you make of Everton and where they'll head this season. Thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys on